All right. So we jump right into it. The first topic is the use and misuse of the force. So the reason we're talking about this because it's really unfortunate, you know. This is why you have to run a nigga like me down to get a spell out of me. I have given spells to only 2 people on this Facebook. One is a family living in Africa, and one is a young lady that currently is living in the Americas now. Just moved. The reason we don't share these formulas is because of the nature of a lot of our people and their hearts. And and unfortunately, this is found mainly with the women. I hate to say this. If you go on Facebook, there's multiple groups of women that just they learn a little something. It's not even something deep. Just how to burn candles, or maybe go get sand from a graveyard, and it really doesn't have deep correspondence. But the little that they do learn, they use it to bring harm to other people at the slightest provocation. So you really don't even have to do much to them. Everybody becomes at risk. The first people they aim for is the men in their lives. This gradually has grown and is growing, is becoming a thing, almost a culture. And a lot of young men out here are naive. Many of you have sons that are going to eventually become adults. And they're going to grow in a world where magic is rampant. There's a lot of women that are learning these techniques not to better themselves, but to use as a weapon because they feel that they're victimized in some way. So always avoid a victim. Anybody that plays the victim is a dangerous person. Because the person will do anything, even over and above. Whenever you start hearing statements like, oh, I'm too nice, or, I'm doing too much, I should, that's a sign right there that person is a dangerous person. You can't be too nice. If you understand what spiritual protection is, you really want to be over nice if you know what the force do. So if you say you're going to fight your battle, the forces will leave you. But if you say that you're not, then they'll fight for you. You can't have both. So we have to understand what is the force. The force is in this space that we breathe. However, because there's nothing outside, then this space is also a reflection of something inside of us. So because there's space everywhere, if you were to go to heaven today, there'll be space in between things. If you were to go to hell today, or anywhere in the planet, or in the whatever world you want to go, there's going to be space in between stuff. So space is everywhere. However, because you're going to be inside of something, looking out anywhere you go, that space will always be a reflection of something inside of you. So what is it a reflection of? It's called many names. Nshi, Nji, in Igbo, subconscious in your English language. Dark matter. In your movies, they call it the dark side of the force. This is the part that's autonomous. It works without your involvement. It's the part that makes your heart beat, your blood circulate, heals your wounds. In the last lecture we talked about ultraviolet light and dark matter being the actual food. That's what you get when you go to sleep and you go into darkness and you wake up refreshed. It's that darkness, that dark matter. It's that force. And it's called chi also. You know. But Nshi is the oldest name. That's where you get Nishiut or Seth. Nshi. In Japanese language, the dark forces are called Mushishi. Mushishi. That's what they're called in Japanese. It's a feminine force, not because it has a pussy, but because it pulls things into itself. You would call it a black hole. A black hole sucks everything around it in. It pulls things into itself. Right? So it has a negative polarity. That's why it's called a she. Shh. That's the origin of the female term she. And there's only, in your whole scriptures, there's only one sin that they say is unforgivable. That you could do everything else, but when you do that, you can be forgiven. It don't matter what you do. Why is that? So this force inside humans is your will to live. Is this intelligence that you're using to listen to my voice now? It's that force that when it leaves the body starts to rot. Many people never get to be introduced to it, even though it lives in them and does work for them. They never go inside to introduce themselves to that force and spend time with it, cultivate it. The few people that do are the supermen, are the ones that do miracles. Just like everything else, you spend, out of the few hours you sleep, you spend your entire existence with your attention focused outside, but you never focus the same attention inside. So you never get to know this force. Most people. The ones that do will find out that that's the cause of everything they see outside. And they could use it as a power. Okay? So because everything has this force in it, everything is the force. So in your scriptures they say, Christ say, in the last day, he said, oh, you saw me freezing and you didn't give me your coat, so I'm going to banish you, And the guy was like, I didn't see you. And Christ said, well, wait, that man you saw on the street that didn't have no coat, that was me. That's another way. These are allegories, by the way. They're not real. But they initiate text to teach people. That's another way of saying that when you do something against another being, you're doing it to the force. So it leaves humans with a very, very precarious position in terms of understanding what duality is. The duality is a projection from yourself. So everything you see and hear, including me talking to you now, is an aspect of something inside of you. So everything outside of you is a projection of something inside of you, because there's nothing outside. Everything is on the inside, looking out. So whatever you see outside is something inside of you that is reflected back. So there's only one rule in the entire existence from the beginning. And this is that you cannot override another's free will. This is why it says, ask and you shall be given. If you don't ask, even though it's good to give you, the forces won't give you, because they will be transgressing the only commandment that even if whatever you call God won't break it. This is why you're moving around freely. If you want to go jump off, whatever, you can do that. You could do anything now. Nothing's going to stop you. There's a certain free will, an autonomy that comes with existence that we enjoy. This is a reflection of this commandment or this principle in the universe. So even the angels and the demons will somehow get your approval before they do things to you or for you. The people that rule you, people that run you in this world, the wise men, the magicians that run you in this world, that create all these movies, why you think they put 100, 200, 300 million in one movie? Do you think it's just to entertain you? It's to get your approval in a way that you don't understand. Because before you open your mouth, you speak first with energy and emotions. Your emotions are a type of speech. So you can agree with something emotionally without opening your mouth. Yes. If you beefing with maybe an ex-lover, and while you're on the phone beefing, you're wet in your panties or you're hard in your boxes, you've agreed. It doesn't matter how many times you say no with your lips. You've agreed. Emotionally. That's the first speech. That's the word, is your emotions, before it comes out as a sound from your lips. So that first word is what the spirits recognize, your impulse, right? So the magicians that run your world, they know this secret. So when they get you in the movie theater, they get you to secretly agree with a ritual that they do in the movie. Maybe in the movie there's a certain force that they expect to come in and change things in the world. Right? They use ceremonial magic and your approval to chase back that force. So in that movie, they make that force be defeated. They make the bad good and the good bad, and they make you support the bad because they put it as good in the movies, and make you hate the good because they put it as bad in the movies. Then they pull your emotions with the music. They use the music to pull your emotions. So they put a scene. They put a scene where it'll pull your emotions out. You'll be like, oh. And they play certain music there. And some people actually cry. Once you do that and you lend your emotions, you've agreed to that ritual. You don't have to say yes or sign no paper. So they show you what they're going to do, then once you agree and everything, they go out and do it a couple of years later, and you'll be like, oh, but you agreed to it. But they can't do it without your approval. They can't do it without you agreeing to it. They can't. They know they can't. Right? So even the angels and the demons cannot make another person do what they don't want to do. They can't afford it. The punishment is too much. So here comes some humans who really don't know what they're doing and how dangerous this place is. They don't understand. They don't understand what life is and existence. Because you think this is the only life you're going to have. You think this is the only life. Did you know you were going to end up in this place before you were born? You just appeared here. What you think is going to happen? You're going to appear again. It's going to be beyond your circumstance. There's beings today walking around you that are from that other side. You may, in your foolishness, harm some of these beings. Your fate will be sealed. Your soul will be sealed. You got to think, why are some people born in such terrible circumstances and some people born in such favorable circumstances? Do you really think it's a cruel joke by the cosmos? So, in your mundane scriptures, they gave you one warning, that whoever transgresses the Holy Spirit will never be forgiven. And there's a chilling message after that. The Christ says that it's like tying your neck with a heavy rock and throwing you in the deepest part of the ocean. What does this mean allegorically? This means that If you know what the ocean is existence, life, levels of life. You keep sinking deeper into worse state. After you're born, you reincarnate into a worse condition, and that the next one will even be worse, because you're sinking. It's like your stone is that thing that you did. You don't understand why all this shit is happening to you. So the initiate, the true wise person, understands what the mirror does. Fools who don't know the science of life and the structure of its existence use it without thinking. So earlier today, the spirit brought to my attention a certain lady who apparently, with a group of other people, and some of them are on my page, about 24 of them are mutual friends with her, did some type of right against all black men. Apparently it's laughable, because these people, first of all, they don't even know any kind of real magic, so they have no protection. Secondly, that's not the point. What they're doing is not the point. The point is the spirit driving it. That is generating so much momentum amongst especially black women. It's very, very sad. It's quite unfortunate. I have not seen one group of black males gathering together to fuck up black women. If you do, let me know, so we could shield them too. But the amount of groups is this in the thousands. This is what we know, that they gather specifically to bring harm to their baby daddies. You have to understand, it's not gonna, it may affect somebody that's not protected, who deserves for that thing to happen to them, or somebody who's just wide open. But you may run into a real magician one day, and that may be the day that the spirit will decide to deal with you. That may be the end for you and your family, your kids, everybody, once that spirit enters your home, because it's going to ricochet everything you did back to you, so you could see yourself and how wicked you are. So what you experience in that situation is not other people's actions, just like the spell I just did. It's not anything we are doing to anybody. It's for them to see their own handwork, and for us to see our own handwork. If you don't do the spell like that, the spell, first of all, is not going to work. Any spell you do against somebody, you have to do to yourself too, or else it's not really going to pop. If it does pop, it's coming for you. So this is a sad situation, where the reason why we don't share any kind of formulas, the reason why people have to run us down for 3-4 months just to get our attention, it doesn't matter what kind of problems they say they have. Because you notice that once you give them the little code and they solve their problems, they get a little comfortable, then they get cocky, they get arrogant, they feel they know something now. And the next test that they have, next provocation, is to use that thing to bring harm. So the very spirit that you're using to do the juju is what you're harming also. And that spirit is what you breathe every day. It never occurred to that person to sit back and think it through. You're not isolated from anybody. That person that you see is a part of you in another time and dimension. You may be born as that person in this same time with your memory erased, and you experience the work of your own hands. So that you understand that the mirror is about balance. You can't raise your right hand in front of a mirror and the left hand move. No, it's a reflection of you. So The people I blame is the people in the earlier times. A lot of the people that lectured, that led you wrong way, unfortunately. They led a lot of these, especially the people here in America. They led them wrong with this pseudo-African bullshit that they doing. They think they doing something. Ashe and Ifa and all that crap. The people that do it over there don't even do it. Like, if you hear them doing it, it's not you people. You really, if you want to learn it, you can. It's just that a lot of them are not even interested in learning anything African. They just want something to use to get what they want. It's like a tool. You can't fool these forces. So it's become an issue. A lot of young men, a lot of you have sons. A lot of you have sons. If a woman comes up and does a ritual to put disease in every black man on earth, and after she does that, you remain her friend, and you have uncles and sons and cousins and nephews. But after she does that, puts that on her page, you continue to be her friend after that, then you are savage. You deserve everything you get. You're a heartless person. Your pain has led you into your own pit. What you put out is what you're going to get, pretty much. But this is an epidemic today. Any of you that pretend you don't see it, you're only part of the problem, because it's growing largely, and it's mainly with women. It's sad. Most of these women have children, so you have to think, how could somebody whose friends, some of these women that gathered around to do this, they have sons, some of them have sons. How could you go back home after that and look your son in the face, knowing that you just put some energy in the air to put disease on all of his kind? Isn't that a kind of lunatic behavior? You should be ashamed of yourself to be associated with such individuals. You think that's magic? Do you think that's magic? That's why they hide the truth from most of you. The spirits will never appear to you and never show you any secrets, because your heart is not in the right place. You have no compassion. The slightest provocation, the minute things don't go your way, you change. Until you stop that, whatever is going on in your life will not stop. So, for a lot of you that have sons, you better teach them how to protect themselves, because they use their boxers, they use sperm, they use all kinds of stuff. But you see, the spirit is a dark intelligence and is built on balance. So this full moon, it's a Virgo moon from what I was made to understand. It's a Virgo moon. And Virgo is about justice. That's why around this full moon, a lot of people are exposing themselves without even knowing. Because you're not greater than the air you breathe. If you want, try it. Stop breathing for a couple of hours. See what's going to happen. You're not greater than the air that you breathe. The air that you breathe is greater and more intelligent than you. So this is a Virgo moon. Virgo is the woman at the court that has a blindfold and a sword with a scale. So in the olden times, Libra and Virgo were the same month. Same character. The Libra and the Virgo, the same character. The Libra is the scale that she holds. The Virgo is actually the virgin that holds it. This is the beginning of darkness. This is when the sun dips between the ecliptic. Between the horizon and the ecliptic, the sun dips and everything starts dying. Fall, called a fall. Right? So, sometime in September-ish, October, you get the Libra and the Virgo. So first of all, you get the scale. Then you get the Virgin holding the scale, which is Libra and Virgo. But Virgo is blindfolded. That means that she's impersonal. She doesn't listen or hear you or look at you to make her decision. She makes her decision based on energy. So if you are a bad person and you're doing a juju against another bad person, when the Virgo energy come out, it's going to start with you first. Because it's fucking up. You called it up. It was resting and you called it up. So now it's up. So now anything that is relative to what you just said, it'll start from there, which the first place is going to come out is from you. It's coming out from you. So it'll start from you and your family. So those of you that understand Igbo and you listen to the ritual that we just did, you understand that we made a clear distinction between the actions that we wanted to operate on. So we put ourselves in the ritual too. We put ourselves in the ritual. Say us too. If anybody we're owing, let's pay them. Anybody that's owing us, let the person pay us. This is the only way rituals work. You can't just stand aside and like whipping people. Who the fuck you think you is? So that's foolishness. That's the foolishness that's pervading our society today. It's all over Facebook. There's so many groups. A lot of you fuckers is on my page. There's 24. That bitch had 24 mutual friends with me. Some of them I couldn't see. I was only able to see like 10 of them. But I noticed something. A lot of them have a feminist ideal. That's a victim mentality, which makes you dangerous. Because once you have a victim mentality, you're going to be treated like a victim everywhere you go, because you're going to put out the energy that's going to make people treat you like a victim without even knowing. So when you find a man or you find somebody that's good, without knowing, you're going to start putting out that victim mentality. And even though the person was good in the beginning, the person's going to eventually treat you like that because you're putting out the reaction like you're already being treated like that without even knowing. So instead of you to enjoy your life, you're out here just looking for faults. That's what the ideology means. There's a reason it was introduced into the sphere. And a lot of you bought it. You know, the whole color purple thing, you know. And I remember doing a lecture the other day on relationships, and a young lady was like, and her question was like, well, you know, men, and I stopped her immediately. I said, you know, we operate from the center. Because nobody can say they're not hurt. The men's hurt, the women's hurt. So when you come from your side, you have to operate to bring things to the center, not to pull things to your side. Because you're going to end up being like the people that you're trying to, you know, stop. So feminism is the new patriarchy. It's a punishing energy. It's not a unifying energy. It's a difference. So you see a lot of the people that have it, because you go on their page and their expressions, they never have anything good to say about men, really. I'm not saying men are the best thing in the world, but I'm just saying the energy from their standpoint. They always have, you know, if they have to talk about men, it'll be a complaint or a meme that has to do with like a derogatory thing. Then they go about their, you know, usual posts, but never anything positive. That's how you know them. And it's a lot, unfortunately. What makes this dangerous is now magic is being introduced to it. You could Google anything on the internet now. They made everything free for you now. You could look up your phone, Google a spell for this, and different spells will pop up on Google. So this is a dangerous time now with that mentality, because now people with that mentality could target people that are not magical and have no protection. Many of your sons are going to grow up with this mentality. How would you feel if that was your son being affected by that? Would you like it? So this is why we did this ritual today. It's not really why, but it's to give people an example of what a ritual really is, and the dimension, you know, how to go about it if you want it to work. which means you have to put yourself in your own spell. You have to first cast the spell on yourself first so that it makes it fair. So that anybody that fucking becomes potent, because it's affecting you, anybody that fucks with you is going to cut that person down in a very harsh way. The person's life will start falling apart in a way that's so calculated the person will not even understand. You know, it has nothing to do with your governments. Your governments do it. The people that run your governments, Obama got a big Hanuman tattoo. Hanuman, which is Thoth, which is the same spirit I just summoned right now, Ishigu. So, you know, most of your heavy politicians and everything, they're not with the church shit. They fucking do this shit I just did. They hire motherfuckers like me to do it for them. And they participate, you know, because they know what's up. My advice to you, if you have a family that you love, you have children, uncles, nieces, nephews, don't put any energy out there against any other person's family that you would not want to happen to them. Because the spirit might skip you and work around you. Just to teach you a lesson, to show you the works of your own hands. If you're a deceptive spirit out here, think you're deceiving somebody, you're only deceiving yourself. You can't hide. Because it's in your blood. You can't hide from your blood. Alright? So that's what full moons do. Is poignant that this is happening at this time, but full moons pull things out. You know, the sun, like I told you guys, the sun does not go deep. The sun will stop at your skin, maybe shine on your skin, but the moonlight goes into your atoms and your molecules and your cells, and deeper into the dark side, your behavior, your psychosomatic regions, the part that don't have atoms. That's where the moonlight go, and it go there and it shine light in that environment. So whatever is there, it brings it out for you to see. That's why people get depressed. Because that shit is in there, and the moon shining light in that region and bringing it out so you could see it and fix it. That's why the moonlight is called lunacy, lunar. The moon is a very powerful light. It's like gamma rays. You know, gamma rays burn, but you're not going to feel the heat till like the next day when your hands fall off. Because they go so fast. That's the moonlight, you know. It's hotter than the sun, but the vibration is so fast that you're not going to feel it as heat. You're only going to feel the effects in your behavior. Alright? So if you have kids, don't do no wickedness. If you have relatives that have kids, don't do no wickedness. Or else it definitely will come back to you and yours. Alright? Your biggest protection in the realm of the mirror is your heart. That's what people don't understand. Your protection spell is actually your emotions. Your emotions is the first and most potent protection. Once that breaks down, your aura got holes. No amount of candle burning, salt throwing, and all that shit is going to put the holes back in your aura that your heart created. And let me show you how juju works. I'll give you an example in a scientific perspective so you understand what we're doing. This is how juju works. Somebody casts a spell somewhere on you, puts a thought out into the ether. Because we're all connected by the air, everything is full already. There's no empty space. Air covers everything, so everything is packed and dense and full. So once the person moves a little bit over there, it's going to move something over here. So the thought form goes from the person and transcends the speed of light. That's how you're able to hear me now, because we're using this air. There's no wires linking my phone and yours, or my phone and your computer. We're using the same principle to communicate right now. So once the person puts the thought form, it's like hearing my voice on this phone. Immediately it'll appear. But once that thought form appears, the thought form will hang around and look for patterns around you, because every time you talk or put out emotions, it creates patterns around you that revolve around you. Some of these patterns that are not good are called holes in your aura. Any of you that have any problem understanding this, go to YouTube and type cymatics and sound. Every sound makes a shape. So anytime you talk, shapes is flying out your mouth surrounding you. So that's why when I say the ritual, I say, instead of saying a bad person doing a bad thing, I say somebody that don't mean good. I use the words good to say the same thing, because I understand that the sound of the word bad, if I say it, I have to neutralize it with the sound of good in the context of the language. So that thought form hovers around. If your aura is nice and neat and everything, the thought form may, depending on how strong it is, stay or may dissipate. You may neutralize it based on your power, if you know the techniques. If not, the day that you become mad, or the day that something happens, or you think a certain way, or you do something to somebody that's similar to the reason that person did that thing to you, then the hole just opens your aura and that thought form enters your life. It may not affect you, it may affect your closest kin. It's a spirit in your sphere now. You will wreak havoc until you notice it. Some of people never do. Alright? So this is how it works. It's science. It's metaphysics. That's why it's called metaphysics. It's higher physics. So your greatest protection is your heart. Always have a good heart. Mean well for people. Mean well. Don't worry. You're not a fool. Don't worry. You're not a fool. As long as you take care of yourself, make sure nobody, if it gets to the point where you feel that your life is threatened, then use your martial arts to defend yourself. But you don't go learn martial arts to go around beating up people. You learn it not to fight until the time when it's needed. You do what is needed to move away from the situation. Okay? Because you know that everything is a reflection of you. So whatever you do to that thing, even if it's your enemy, whatever you do to that motherfucker, one day you're going to be put in the same position where you unknowingly do the same thing to another motherfucker. Then what? That's what it means by whoever is not guilty should throw the first stone. As long as you're born in this flesh, you're guilty. If you look in your blood now, there's been criminals in your bloodline. There've been all kinds of devious people that existed in your bloodline. That shit is in your blood. We are all, as long as you're in the flesh, we're all guilty. So you have to use your sense to protect yourself, because this is a very precarious realm that we live in. It's not easy to live here. You want to make it better, not the opposite. All right. So this is the unforgivable transgression, is to transgress against the free will of another being. So all of y'all that's doing love magic, you have the only way that you can stop the punishment, this is the only way. If you've ever done a love ritual on somebody so they could change their free will to like you, you have fucked up big time spiritually. If you ever done anything to make another person change what they would choose by themselves, you have transgressed the force. It comes with a heavy hand. Okay? You want to really leave people alone. That's what you want to really, like, don't fuck with people, really, honestly. It comes with a heavy hand. You know, you want the person to operate on their own free will as you operate on your own free will. Even the angels will not change your free will because they know this law. God himself won't change your free will. Or God herself. All right? So this is what the Holy Spirit means, is your free will, your thought energy, your attention, your emotions, the you that's you, the you that was you before they gave you a name, the energy in you, and its ability to do what it want to do for you. How would you like if somebody put you on a remote control for their own will? That means you're turning you to a slave. Would you like that? If you don't like that, why would you do that? Why would you reflect that in the ether? Why would you do that to another being? Do you think that what you will not reap what you sow? Surely somebody more powerful than you will come along one day and enslave you too. You're attracting energies you don't want. It's not wise. I see a lot of, I'm telling you, man, the internet lets you see people in their pain and in their depression. They begin to become insane and do things that even hurt their own self and family without knowing. And unfortunately, many of them are women. From my understanding, you know, from what I've seen. So you really want to guard yourself and protect yourself. And the first protection is your own goodwill. Because that is what is going to be reflected back to you. Okay? So like I explained in the analysis of ritual, every ritual has two sides. If you want to do a ritual, you must include yourself in the ritual. You don't go to the market and just grab some shit out the store. You have to give something to get that thing, something usually of equal value. So if you go doing a ritual against people that don't mean you well, you have to make sure that you're not out here that you mean everybody well, or you have the intention to mean well, and you pledge it to the spirit while you're doing the ritual. The spirit will hold you to it. So, you know, that's the cost of causing an imbalance in the force, is that it sinks you deeper into the worlds. You know, if you think this world is bad, there's actually more dimensions. There's 1,000 times worse than this earth. There's versions of this earth that is so sick and bad. And you really, if you compare this existence to those, you'd be like, damn, we're lucky. You know, as fucked up as you think this shit is now, where there's no seeds, they blocking the sun, niggas is enslaved, everybody got to go to work, and you know, you just like it's toxic. It's not so good. However, if you think this is some shit, this shit is like paradise compared to that. So you want to move up. You know, you don't want to move in the other direction. You want to move up.